Tonight, we're going to bring on Jaime, who's going to talk about phone script. You know, something very interesting happened the other day that I got to witness, and I see her do things like this all the time. In addition to everything that she does for this team, probably a lot more than what people realize. It's kind of crazy in here during the day, her running it back and all the stuff she does for the team. But an agent called her, and I think almost had the audacity to talk about how terrible a particular lead was. And then Jaime, rather than entertaining those comments, she just picked up the phone and started dialing the leads. The second lead she dialed, the person tried to give her the same exact BS that we all people want to accept what the client is selling them every day, but the client actually tried to tell her she didn't do this. I didn't fill it out. It wasn't me. And then Jaime just started poking, asking more questions, got into it. Finally, the client said, yes, it was me. I did do this. And then Jaime booked the appointment. But it's only because Jaime did not accept, the BS that the client was throwing at her at first. And a lot of that has to do with her mindset. Because she believes so strongly that every client knows that they filled this out, she refused to accept what the client was throwing at her. If you go in every day dialing saying these leads suck, they didn't fill it out, then when the client tells you that, then you just immediately accept it and say, yes, these leads suck. The client is correct. But she didn't believe it and she overcame it, booked the second appointment, and then was done with the rest of them. And so we're not going to entertain this BS anymore. You need to get on the phone and call your leads. So I'm excited to have her on tonight. I get to work with her every day. I hear what she does for the agents. I hear how strong she is on the phone. So we're going to bring on Jaime tonight because it is the absolute most important thing in this entire business that we do is phone skills, how to book appointments, and how to talk to people. So Jaime, you there?
I'm here. Can you hear me okay?
I sure can. It's all you.
Oh, thank you. Yeah. Sometimes it just takes conviction. Sometimes people just, it's like I'm looking at the leads. I'm looking at a timestamp of when the person filled out the lead. I'm looking that they actually typed in saying what they wanted for who they wanted it for. And it's like, well, I'm not going to sit here and entertain this agent anymore. Like I didn't even tell him I was calling the lead. I just like, hold on a second. Nope, that one didn't answer. I was like, but you heard him say that his voicemail, that's the same lead. So, all right, but just hang on with me a second. Next number. She picks up. I'm like, yeah, Barbara. Hey, Barbara, Jaime, Eufemia here, just giving you a quick, and went right into a script that I haven't read in probably, I don't know how. Actually, these were a type of lead I'd never even called before. But my point is that like, she said exactly what it is that he was calling to complain about. That she didn't remember filling it out. And I was just like, I'm not calling out of a phone book, and neither is anybody else on this call. Like we literally are calling leads that people raise their hand and ask for protection. I don't care if it was 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 years, 20 years, they ask for protection. And so as an agent who has a life insurance license, who actually, when I received the lead, I raised my hand and said, I'm going to help the client. I'm not like calling someone out off of a phone book or off of a list that someone gave me that didn't want coverage. I'm calling someone who raised their hand at some point in time and said, I want coverage. And oh, by the way, I have a responsibility because I purchased that lead or bought that lead to now serve the client in all means possible. And so when you kind of have that mindset, when you take a step back and realize, hold up, I did say I was going to help these families, of which the leads I purchased, of which they filled out a form and asked for it. So why do I think this is anything different? There isn't a moment in time ever, that when someone picks up the phone, I don't think that I'm not going to help them. But I think sometimes when people are getting in this business or when they're first getting started, or even if they've gone through, a couple weeks here or even a couple months here, there is some sort of reluctancy when someone picks up the phone as if they didn't ask for our help, as if their family wasn't going to be 100%, like there wasn't a peace of mind if when I leave off this phone with them, that they didn't have peace of mind. Like when someone picks up that phone, I have a responsibility to serve them, and I don't think that I'm not going to. I don't care how old the lead is. You can give me a 10-year-old lead. I don't care how old it is. I feel like I have a responsibility to serve them. And I'm not looking at it as a lead. I'm looking at it as a family who, if tomorrow they weren't here, that their family was going to have peace of mind, or at least have some sort of financial stability of whatever that looked like. I don't care if it was a $10,000 policy, a $20,000 policy, $1 million policy, whatever it was that they were asking for. I have a responsibility to help their family with that. I do know that, and when this business becomes personal for you and not just a transaction, it will change for you. It has to become personal. And sometimes you need to dig around and figure out, what does that look like? Have you ever had someone in your life that life insurance affected, whether it was a good thing or not a good thing? Like, have you had someone in your life where you saw them get to reap the benefit of a life insurance policy? Or have you seen someone in your life who their family didn't have life insurance, and now they were up in sorts and having to deal with all kinds of financial devastation? Because if you know someone like that, you need to look at every single lead as if you're looking at that family right there. The family that either it helped or didn't help, you need to look at every single lead as if it was that person standing graveside and didn't have enough money to bury their family member. Or if that was a person who, you know what, their family had $1 million worth of coverage, and their family didn't have to worry about the financial piece of it, and they could mourn properly their family member who was not here. So I don't look at a lead as a $3 lead. I don't look at a lead as a $5 lead, $10 lead, $80 lead. I do not look at it as a dollar amount. I look at it as a family who said, hey, I need protection at some point in time. And guess what? I'm the person who actually said I will be the one to help them out. What that also means is sometimes I understand that every person I talk to, I get it. Most people, one, don't want to talk about life insurance today. They don't want to talk about dying today. And two, most people don't want a new bill today. And I understand that. I get that. But guess what? They ask for coverage, and we already know that most people are procrastinators. I mean, think about it. Us ourselves are procrastinators. Like, I'm going to start that diet next week. I'm going to quit smoking next year. I'm going to get on a lead program. Oh, I'm going to start recruiting. And you know, the first of the month, I'm going to start recruiting. We're all procrastinators. Don't think that your people aren't, the people who filled out forms, your leads aren't procrastinators too. They're just as much of procrastinators as you procrastinated on something. And so I have to pleasantly do a little pushing. I have to not accept anything that they say as being face value. If they tell me they already took care of it, I don't care. They didn't take care of it with me. I need to make sure that they have the proper plan. Because there's a lot of insurance agents out here that don't put people's best interests first. They put their paycheck first. They put them in plans that may not last for them forever, or that may adjust in 5 years, or that may end at age 85. They don't put them in their best interest. Or maybe it's just they did think that they did give them the best plan because that's all they had to sell. There's the only plans that they could help them with, but not here. So I need to take a look and make sure that they have the best plan possible that we can help them with. So if I didn't help them with the policy, they didn't do business. So if they tell me they already took care of it, I need to see. If they tell me that they don't know what I'm talking about, well, I need to politely, in a casual way, that I'm communicating with another human being, because that's all we do, right? I think sometimes when people get on the phone with people, they start to all of a sudden they turn into these salespeople that they would never talk to. It's like, why are you sound like a salesperson? You wouldn't even talk to you if you talked to you like that. Like, how are you? Like, what? Can we just talk to people like normal people? I mean, hello, we're dealing with just human beings here. We are dealing with people who fill out forms. I'm sorry, but last time I checked, millionaires don't fill out forms on Facebook. Executive, your lawyer is not your doctor is not going up on Facebook filling out forms looking for life insurance. They have somebody. So why are we talking to them as if they're like some high-class citizen that needs a professional to help them out with the way we talk? No, we're talking to humans. We're talking to middle America who are just looking for somebody to give them a plan so they don't have to think about it anymore. Put it to bed. And so let's bring it down a notch and just speak to people like they're human beings, like we're just a natural person, very casual, in control, very direct, but nice. They feel comfortable with us. Like, if the person is on the other line doesn't actually feel comfortable enough to tell you their information, is probably because you sound like you're trying to make them feel uncomfortable. It's like, have you ever talked to somebody like, I don't know, I mean, it could be anything, where it's like they just sound so uptight. You're like, oh God, I need to get away from this person like right now, because they're just like, I can't even deal with it. Don't be that person. Be a person who is just a natural human being, just talking to another human being, and talk to them as if you would talk to somebody you never met before, but they knew you were going to call. Like, hello, they gave us their phone number. They know somebody's going to call them and talk about insurance. They just don't know when. They're not prepared for your call, just like they shouldn't be, but they did give us their phone number and they did ask us to help them with insurance, period, plain and simple. So we need to talk to them just as casual as that can be, just like anything else. So if someone calls me, if I get a lead and I'm calling them up, I'm like, hey, Mike, this is Jamie giving you a quick call. Just calling you back because it looks like you filled out something here on Facebook. Looks like you answered an ad about lady, you know, she was in the red shirt or whatever. Anyway, my job's just to get you the information and see which one of these you qualify for. Got a couple minutes? It's yes. They say no, or they might say, what are we talking about? I just repeat the same. Yeah, no worries, Mike. It was just a thing that you looked up online. It was probably like Facebook or something like that, a little video. She was talking about your burial and final expense stuff. I'm just the person assigned to help you out. So it just takes a couple minutes for me to see what you qualify for. We'll get this done and wrapped up for you. Anyway, can you just grab a pen and paper real quick and I'll give you the information? Super casual, not a big deal, right? Like some people just make everything sound like if you make anything a big deal, it's going to be a big deal to them too. So if they say they didn't know what you were talking about and you're like, oh, well, it was, you know, it's about the final expense. Like, just talk. It's like, if like your mom called you and for dinner and she wanted to know if you wanted to come over for family dinner and she was having a meal that you didn't really like, you wouldn't get it. Like, it's just like, no, I didn't really want pasta tonight. You know what I mean? I was hoping to have some steak. You know what I mean? Like, it's just like, it's not a big deal. It's just, he don't want pasta tonight. I mean, I don't know. Like, well, I shouldn't say that. It's a big deal in my house and Frank don't get pasta. Oh, okay. Wrong analogy. But you get what I'm trying to say. It's like, it's not that serious. Just like, it's not that serious if they don't remember filling it out. Like the lady yesterday or the other day, whatever it was, who was like, I didn't fill anything out about that. I was like, yeah, it was just the one that you did. Actually, it looks like you did it on 10/20. Looks like it was about 5:30 your time. And I see here you put that you wanted your son Sean to be the beneficiary, and you were looking for about 10,000 in coverage. Anyway, it only takes about 10 or 15 minutes to go through this with you. Grab a pen and paper. It's no big deal. But if you make it a big deal, it will be a big deal, and you will not help the family because they don't want to feel like they are being sold. They don't want to have to feel like this is going to take a long time, that this is going to be a huge process. They don't want to deal with that. And they really don't want to talk about death today. Nobody does. So we have to kind of peel back the layers and just talk to them like a normal person, as if it's no big deal. We do this all the time. We help so many people every single day that are just like them. And it's like not even a thing. Okay. Now, the thing that I wanted to cover tonight were the 3 A's. And it's obviously attitude, activity, and being assumptive. And I think if we can get these 3 things tight, like tight, this process of getting good will happen a lot faster for you. A lot of times people just, they want to drag this, because let's just all face it, these first 3 months of being in this business, and maybe it's 5 months for you, but this first period of time is the toughest part. Like the first couple months of doing this is, if you just can find it in every ounce of your being to not quit and to do what you say you're going to do. So if you say you're going to work 40 hours, you're going to work 40 hours. Meaning, by the way, in an 8-hour day, you can dial the phone 280 times. 35 dials an hour is 280 dials. So like if we just did what we said we were going to do just for this beginning part, we're going to shorten this learning curve of these phones immensely. But one, it starts with a good attitude. Like it is going to be like, I mean, I don't know if I should say this or not, but I feel like I should have to just say it. Like if you are a person who is negative, if you're like always depressed and blah, and like, oh, the world, like a victim mentality, like if you are that type of person, this is going to be really hard for you. This business is going to be really hard for you because every single day you have to flush that stuff out and you have to be on your game to serve people right out of the gate. Like your little, what's going on in your little world has to be compartmentalized and just set outside the door until you're done with your day and serving people. If you bring that stuff in, it's going to be tough. This is going to be hard. You're like, I don't know. No, it takes work. It takes work. It takes work every single day. There wasn't a day that didn't go by in all of those years of setting appointments and being on the phones that I didn't have to get my mind right before I picked up those phones every day. And even after even in the years where the income was just flying in, still had to get my mind right to get on those phones. Still sometimes got butterflies. Still, you're like, oh, does this get easier? Yeah, it does get easier because you get better. But that doesn't mean that's like, there's not this like feeling of like, oh, what are they going to say? No, you cannot give up. You have to give it all you got. But when the time that you are and by the way, if you're a part-time person, say, you know what, I only have 20 hours a week. Okay, can we just promise to give it 20 hours? And by 20 hours, I mean 20 working hours. We're not playing around with spreadsheets. We're not playing around with business cards. We're not playing around with social media. We are giving it whatever hours that we said we were going to give it. We're going to give it those hours. And by the way, we can dial a phone by hand on our cell phone 35 times in 1 hour. So let's not play games and act like we're working if we don't have 40 hours and 280 dials. Now, listen, this thing starts to get easier. So maybe you won't need 280 dials in a 40-hour work week. Right? Maybe it's something different for you as you get better. But right now, as we are starting this process, let's just commit to doing whatever it is we said we were going to do, whatever those hours look like. If you're a 50-hour-a-week person, okay, give it that. If you're whatever it is, can we just commit to doing that? Please do yourself that favor. We're as we're getting into this season of holidays. And a lot of times in the season of holidays, people want to do a lot of taking off, right? We're like, oh, I think I'm gonna do take off for this and take off for that, take off, take off. And it's like, when you take off, it doesn't just cost you monetarily for that day because you took off. It costs you it's going to cost you for whatever it is that you're doing to take off. So if it's a vacation, it's a travel, it's, holiday, Christmas, whatever it is, that part is going to cost you, but it's also going to cost you momentum. Okay. And so that's where this whole activity thing comes in. Some people that might be watching me right this second, some people are living right to here, but yet they're working in their activity as if they're living like down here. It's like they've got all this space that they have plenty of money that are going. It's like, you're telling me you're living to here and we're taking vacations. We're taking off for 3, 4, 5, 6 days for Christmas, for Thanksgiving, for what? Mm-hmm. Like, no, we have to. Okay. So if these holidays and we're going to take off for these holidays, for these 3 days are here, we've got to double down on the front end and the back end of this thing because we are living to here. Some people have debt. Some people are about to throw Christmas on a credit card that they can't afford, but yet they're working as if they're just like they got it all going on. If this is you, which maybe I'm not talking to you, but when most people are getting started, if you aren't making sure that you have leads every single week, maybe you're trying to build the business, maybe you're doing some sort of expense some recruiting expense. If you're not doing all those things, you probably are living right to here. And so activity is so crucial in this game, especially in the beginning here. We have to treat this thing as if we are running like our hair is on fire to get this thing moving. I heard Frank talk to somebody one time and he was saying, man, I know you're an older person. They had kids that were like in their 20s, so they're probably our age. But anyway, he was, in the older side, and he was just saying like, it doesn't matter the age of our kids. If our kids have some sort of terminal illness and working could cure it, what would you be not willing to do to make that happen? And every time I say it, it sent chills all the way down my body. If your child had an ailment that working could cure, How many hours would you be willing to not work to make it happen? And that's how important this activity thing is. That's how important it is. If you are financially struggling, if you're debt that's just carrying a weight on your shoulders and is weighing you down, like emotionally, if you have something that is going on that maybe that money can handle, why aren't you working like your hair's on fire? Why aren't you working as if your child's life depends on it? This business can be so fruitful if you allow it to, but some people are just walking around day by day as if they're taking advantage of the fact that they have an insurance license that can change their life financially. I'm passionate about this because it has changed our lives financially, and it has changed so many agents that have walked into these doors of Family First Life's lives financially, which I know money's not everything, blah, blah, blah. But I'm just going to tell you, if you don't have to carry the weight of what money does and what money can do, it changes things. It is not everything. You are right. It isn't. But it will darn right change some things and allow you to do things that you never ever could do before. And if you just allow it because you have an insurance license, and oh, by the way, you don't just have an insurance license, you have an insurance license here at Family First Life. So we have to start walking in that way and treating it that way. Just stop being so relaxed about it and lackadaisical about your activity. Start making a commitment to whatever it is and do just that. Have some accountability for yourself. And by God, have some accountability to the person who recruited you, to the people who are spending time with you and helping you and mentoring you and taking calls all hours of the day. Have some dignity to do it, and just do what you say you're going to do. If it's 40 hours, just do that. If it's 30, do that. If it's 60, do that. But just do what you said you were going to do. And I promise you, you won't be disappointed in the long run. And the last thing is basically being assumptive. Guys, you have to learn to be assumptive in this business. As I said in the beginning of the call, there isn't a person that picks up the phone that I don't assume that I'm not going to either set the appointment or serve them today, period. In the way I speak to them and the questions I ask, I am asking people questions and I'm leading them down a path because I'm assuming today I'm helping them. I'm not assuming they're going to tell me they were looking for a quote. I'm not assuming that I was just going to give them a quote. I'm not assuming they're going to tell me they're not interested. I'm not assuming we're not doing an application today. All of these things I'm assuming we are going to do today. I'm going to help them today. I'm going to put a policy in place today that is going to help their family and give them peace of mind. So we're not talking about this again. So when I'm asking them questions, I'm asking them questions that I'm definitely going to get an answer to. I'm not asking yes or no questions. I'm like, go grab a pen and paper for me. We can get this thing knocked out. That's not a yes or no question. That's a direction. I'm giving them direction on to do this thing right now. When I'm asking them even for their social or their banking information, I'm asking them in a way that is basically, they're going to give it to me in a way that it's non-threatening. It's very assumptive. And what's your social? I'm not saying, so do you mind if I ask you for your social? They're going to say no. That's not assumptive. The same thing when you're asking for their banking information. It's like, all right, and you're banking with, Bank of America. All right, cool. I've got their routing number here and your account number. I'm not saying now I'm going to have to ask you for your account number. No, and your account number. It's very assumptive in the fact it's very assumptive when they answer the phone and they filled out a form about life insurance on the internet. It's like, I'm very assumptive that they actually did do it. I don't think for a second that they didn't do it at some point in time. I don't even care if they tell me they didn't do it. They could tell me anything in the world. I don't hear what they're saying, and I'm assuming we're doing business today. Period, plain and simple. It's almost like a healthy sort of amnesia. It's like, yeah, they might have said that, but I don't even hear it. It's like, next. Anyway, so here's what we're going to do. We're just going to basically, they filled out a form asking for my help. Why in the world would I assume anything other than I'm going to help them today? Period. And so if you can start getting this assumptiveness in your everyday conversation, and it might take a minute. It's kind of like you start going to the gym or whatever. If you start developing a new habit, it's going to take a minute to start to get this thing, but start recording yourself. Listen to yourself back. Like, did I sound assumptive there? No, I didn't. I downright asked them if this was okay again. Stop asking people if it's okay. Just assume it is okay. They'll tell you if it's not okay. I promise you. But assume everything is just going, it's okay that's going to happen. and record yourself, listen to yourself back, get feedback, get in front of people who can help you. Let's consolidate this time frame of what success is going to look like for you. And the last thing I'm gonna leave you with is just start wherever you are. Tomorrow's a brand new day. That's the thing I love about this business every single week. Every single day, I can start exactly where I am that day. I don't care if it looked terrible the week before, we went zero or whatever, or maybe we only had $4,000 in deposits and that week, or maybe, or maybe we had 20,000. I don't care what it looks like. Today's a new day. Start where you are. Anybody can just start one day at a time. How do you eat elephant? Just one bite at a time. Quit looking at the scoreboard. Quit looking at what your peers are doing. You run your race. You start where you are today and start being held accountable for whatever it is you do in the time that you have every single week. And I promise you, you keep your head down and just get after it, and things will start to look better for you. And this time frame of winning here at Family First Life will kind of be consolidated. But this start, stop. Oh, I'm going to work 2 hours today. I'm going to work 5 hours tomorrow. Work 8 hours. It's like, we've got to get some momentum here, and we've got to get into a rhythm that's just that you don't even have to think about. We've got to also get into this place where even with leads, it's like, we've got to get into a rhythm of constant leads. We can't keep going in there and clicking the button. I want 5. I want 10. I'm going to buy 100. I'm going to buy 200. I'm going to buy 10. No, we've got to get in a rotation that when we wake up in the morning, I said this a couple weeks ago, it's like when that money hit the bank account and it said we had, I don't know, whatever it was, 25 leads that came in, it's like, boom. Watch your feet hit the floor when you just had your bank account swiped and you got 25 new leads sitting. I promise you got a little bit extra spring in your steps when those funds come out and you've got brand new leads. But if you had to go in there and be like, oh, what should I buy? I guess I'm going to buy 5 of these and 15 of those and 25. No. Because then you know what y'all start thinking about? Like, my light bill's coming on. My light bill's coming up on 2 days, and then my rent is doing 5. What if I don't make a sale? It's like, no. Your leads are the most important things that you buy every single week, because that is what's going to keep you in business. Period. Plain and simple. Yes, you might be late on your light bill, whatever. What it is, what it is. Don't go on telling me that you haven't been late on stuff in the past before getting here. Because I promise you, everybody's been late on something in their lifetime before they got here. What's it any different now? But when these suckers are on automated, guess what else is on automated? Those deposits. So that's what I got for you guys tonight. I don't know if anybody has any questions.
Frank.
0 questions. All just a huge thank you. Huge thank you. Thank you.
Mike, I'm going to be up till about 4 a.m. now, because when she goes on these tangents, it lasts for about 5 hours. So I appreciate you for that. I will be texting you at 3 o'clock in the morning.
Hey, I always bring her on when we need it the most.
Ain't that the truth?
I think after I saw this weekend, Frank, and I don't know if we even want to bring it up, but I'm noticing on the weekends, we just don't have the activity that we used to have. And after I saw that, I was like, oh, we need to get Jamie on to talk about it, because Saturdays and Sundays are where we make it happen,
Yeah, no doubt. It's the best 2 days to run insurance. And if your bank account's not where you want it to be, you need to be running Saturdays and Sundays. And I'd be willing to bet all the money I have in my bank account that 98% of the people on this call's bank account's not where they want it to be. Like, you're in the office every Saturday and Sunday.
We got a lot of stuff going on, trying to make things better for this group, and it definitely doesn't happen easy. Jamie's ringing my phone this morning to get things fixed because we had some problems. And then after this, we got another call to talk about leads, how to make things better. I mean, it's what we do. It's the only way that we're going to grow. And the more that all of us are pulling in and are pouring together and trying to get things fixed, the best thing that this group can do is understand how important it is that we all work together, because the more these numbers grow, the more that we can do. So I will see everyone next week. We got a call after this tonight for us to talk about some leads, and everyone make it a great week. And let's start making that change. Let's do what Jamie talked about. Let's make today the day that we're going to decide to make a change and make things better. So everyone have a great night. Let's crush it. Let's kill it for the rest of this quarter.